West Virginia Mountaineers in the season in embarrassing fashion. I'm almost speechless.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia as we dive into the post-game episode of the Texas Tech game and a lot more. Thank you guys for being here. I'm aggravated, just like a lot of you guys are. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team every single day. Brought to you by Game Time. Right now with Game Time, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Okay, so obviously we're going to talk about the game. We'll go over it. It's probably the least important thing we'll talk about. We'll talk about Scotty Fox in the second segment. What do you think his future is in Morgantown? Do you still believe in him as a future potential starter? And then obviously we'll talk about the game, and then, the recruits that were on campus, some feedback that I've already gotten. And also the Cam Vaughn situation, which is just blown, to me, way out of proportion. I'm really disgusted by it, and I almost want to start there. So let's get going here. West Virginia didn't show up to this football game. They never had a chance from the get-go. It's already severely outmatched, and you just never showed up. I mean, that's what happened, right? I think we all saw it for what it was. I don't know if everybody was checked out, or if everybody checked out once things started going bad. But, on a day where Armoni Weaver was your leading rusher, Scotty Fox didn't even have 100 yards passing, and the defense couldn't stop Texas Tech from doing whatever it wanted on third down, whenever it wanted on third down. There was an unenthusiastic performance to boot, and you have to call into question, to an extent, Rich Rodriguez and how they got this team prepared, right? I mean, you had 2 weeks to do this. And is this Texas Tech team incredibly good? Yes, they are. Were you capable of doing better than you did against them today? I think you were. Bill Steele himself, who's been on the nose for a lot of these predictions this year, predicted West Virginia to stay within the spread. I had a feeling they would stay closer. It just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. You had a couple bounces that didn't go your way as well early. They fumbled the ball once early, and they picked it right back up. It was things like that. When those things happen, it's not going to be your day. Oh, sorry, guys, my neck. Okay, looking at the box score here, Baron Morton has just an insanely efficient day. 25 of 32. 310 yards and 3 touchdowns. Caleb Douglas tears you up through the air. 5 catches, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. 12 carries for 79 yards from Cameron Dickey. Where I thought they were going to hurt us, they didn't hurt us, which was on the ground. I mean, they had a lot of rushing yards between all the guys, but I mean, it wasn't as dominant a run performance as it was a passing performance. They had 3 or 4 guys with almost 100 yards. Between Carter, Douglas, Hudson, they all played well in the pass game. Romello Height, which is who I kind of highlighted as somebody I felt was as good as David Bailey, showed why today, dominated West Virginia up front. And I think my first point of emphasis is this. Now that the season is over and we can talk about it a little more openly, now that their careers are over with, somebody please explain to me why Kimo Makaniole and Ty Crawford were both starting together on the right side again. I really want to know why. I'm going to end up. I'm thinking about asking Coach Dressler or Coach Bicknell about this, and I have no right to know. I have no right to demand to know. Early on in the game, there was a play on 4th and 1. Landon Livingston had a hat on a hat. Nick Cray had a hat on a hat. Walter Youngbear had a hat on a hat. It was perfectly set up to get 4th and 1. Who lets the two guys shoot straight through the gap? Oh, you know, Kimo Makaniole and Ty Crawford. Before that, Key 3rd and 8. Who shoots straight? Both times, both players had a miscommunication or something. I don't know what it was. And the gap gets shot, and Scotty was running for his life again. The worst side of an offensive line I've ever seen in my life. Ever. You literally couldn't do worse. By the numbers, you couldn't do worse. I don't understand why they kept trotting those same two out together week after week after week after week after freaking week. It's so to this point, I want Jack McNeil's head over it, Kevin Brown or not. Like, I am so sick of those two coming out and playing beside each other. It was by far the most egregious thing that I saw this coaching staff do week after week after week. And somebody please explain it to me, because the one game they didn't play together, we put 250 yards rushing up on Houston. So somebody explain it to me, because I don't know if you had so much tied up in the kid. I don't know. I mean, I hate to jump back into all this, but obviously I showed you guys the article a few weeks ago where the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive lineman called Jack McNeil an idiot and toxic and all these different things. I'm starting to wonder about that. And this is not the time to be having to change your offensive line coach, but it's also the time to do it if you're going to do it. You better do it between year 1 and year 2 if you're going to do it, right? But also, you really don't want to have to. It's like, I trust Rich Rod to make the right evaluation. I do trust him to make the right evaluation. If it's not Bicknell and it's something else, then I guess that'll get taken care of. But you can't really defend, to me anyways. You just can't defend the way that those guys played this year. At one point this year, and I don't know what he finished, Kimo Makaniole was rated the 341st or 350th rated guard in the country, which was dead last at one point this year. Per Pro Football Focus's grading measures. Ty Crawford was in the hundreds. Walter Youngbear was in the 100s out of 300 and some potential players. They never gave us a chance. There's more than just that, but that's where I begin, is what I'm saying. That's where you start, right there with those two players on the right side of that offensive line. They were just by far the weakest, not only on the offense, but on the team. Besides the middle of the field, defensively, you could probably argue that too, but I just don't understand why they kept doing it. So if somebody finds out, I would love to know what the answer is, if there's a better one, because it'd be different if we didn't see that Houston game where we played well against a pretty good defense, and a defense that was good all the way throughout the rest of the year now. So, what Houston, were they going to win 10 games? So, I don't have answers. I just have complaints, and I hate being that. I hate being like that. I really do. I really truly do. But sometimes that's all you got, and it's not fun. Nobody's saying it is. That's for sure. But here we are. We're in a situation where we've got to hope that he ends up being the right guy for the job. We hope we don't have to replace him. Um, as far as, in other words, he's the right guy for the job if we don't have to. But we don't know. We're not going to find out until probably after next year, I'm assuming. I'm not really sure. So, I guess I'm just over it. I'm ready to see what happens next, because tonight we had, what, 12 recruits on campus, maybe more, and 5 or 6 of those were game changers, big time game changers. You think you impressed them? Because I don't think you did. We're going to talk about that next. This episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends at Wayfair. When it comes to Wayfair, y'all, we're going to talk about it. The holiday season is right around the corner, and that means it's time to get home ready. Whether you need more seating for guests, cozy new linens, or fun serveware for holiday hosting, Wayfair's Black Friday sale is here to help you make your space shine. The best part is you don't have to wait. Wayfair's Black Friday deals are happening all month long with up to 70% off from sofas to spatulas. I couldn't believe how fast everything shipped, by the way, just in time for the holidays, which is pretty good stuff. Don't miss out on early Black Friday deals today. Head to Wayfair.com now to shop Wayfair's Black Friday sale for up to 70% off. That's WAYFAIR, Wayfair. The sale ends December 7th. If I can get that out of my mouth. The sale ends December 7th. There we go. So another year down for the moderators, Lifted Diesel, Raven, and others, Shaq and others. I mean, there are a bunch of you, a couple of you. If I'm missing somebody, let me know. But thank you guys so much for your contributions over the year. You guys do an awesome job. You guys have always, been so good to everybody. So thank you for that. It's segment 2. I'm going to crack a body armor do. Okay. So let's jump into a conversation I want to have now about Cam Vaughn and the recruits that were on campus. They're going to be both. We'll get to Scotty Fox here in a minute. So I'm going to start with Cam Vaughn. I wanted to start the show with it, but I'm trying to let my emotions come down a bit because I get it. It was an egregious play on his part. It was bad. It was really bad. I understand that. If you want to say he's suspended for the first half of the first game next year or something like that, I feel like that's an appropriate punishment. But to pretend like this isn't a coachable mistake, this isn't something he can improve from. He didn't go up and punch the cheerleader. He didn't get caught with drugs or paraphernalia, or he didn't get caught with a DUI. This isn't BYU. He didn't break the honor code. What are you people talking about? I seen people, Chris Anderson, basically got the party started reposting him. Everybody saw it in real time that he kept running. It was a bad play, but everybody reposted it and then they piled on. Keep in mind, this is not a West Virginia fan in Chris Anderson. He just covers the team. So trust me, he gets a little chuckle out of watching everybody feast on that kid like that. So he got that party started. Then Josh Wolfe posted it, and other people posted it, demanding he don't come back to West Virginia next year. Hold on a second. Can you please hold your horses for a second here? This is one of our best offensive players all year long. I never heard this kid complain about anything. I've never seen a play come up until now. Sure, did he make mistakes? I'm sure he did throughout the year. Did he miss a couple routes here and there? Sure he did. Absolutely. Was he one of the players I would be most excited about going forward in the next year? Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't believe so many people are online trying to run this guy off. I'm totally shocked, to be honest. I'm totally shocked. Let's see if I can find it. But like I'll show you guys. If I can find it, I'll take a screenshot and show you really quick. It's pretty wild stuff, man. So it started with Chris, I believe, saying something about Cam Vaughn being wide open, or not wide open, but he said, "Holy Cam Vaughn effort on that interception. I don't know how a WV coach lets him come back to the sideline after that." I get that criticism for sure. It's just that, the things that people are saying, and these are people that are supposed to be in the media. At least I know Chris Anderson is, and I thought Josh Wolf wasn't he? Or I don't know. Is he a burner? Is he in the media? I have no clue, but I try not to get involved with that stuff. Like, I really do. Like, I never bring the guy up. But in this case, I'm curious what everybody else thinks. Am I in the wrong for wanting to defend Cam Vaughn on this? This is what Chris Anderson posted. Holy moly, Cam Vaughn. Not a big deal, really, but it started a frenzy. Then you've got Josh Wolf posting, do not pay him. Do not pay him. West Virginia should not retain Cam Vaughn. He didn't attempt to chase the defender at all. It's just a disgusting effort. Pair that with constantly running the wrong route and lack of effort at other times this season. He's not worth the money. I just totally disagree with that. I do. This dude was open all season long downfield. If anybody had the right to be frustrated today, of all days, in my opinion, it's Cam Vaughn. You can go find a cut up of any player, and I'm sure you can find some lack of effort here and there. He was not the only player I saw do that today, a day where we were getting blown totally out the water in the last game. Did he expect his first year at West Virginia to go this way? I doubt it, right? He probably expected it to be something like last year where he almost had 1,000 yards. He's not going to have that this year. So I'm not justifying, like I said, if you want to punish him for the first half of the first game next year or whatever, if he stays, that's fine. But to publicly come out and say this kid doesn't need to be here anymore over one play is incredibly short-sighted. And yeah, you can go and say it's because of all these other things, but where were you at until now? Why is it all coming out all at once now? It's just like, I would like with me, Kimo Macaniole and those guys, I've criticized them game after game after game all year. It's been consistent. I haven't liked it since the beginning. Now there's one egregious play and you want to pretend like you're out in front of this. I don't get it. I just feel like this is a situation where Cam Vaughn made a bad choice. He should be punished for it behind closed doors. And then we should please ask him to stay because he's one of our best wide receivers. And I think he will probably be a big impact player for us next year, if you ask me. I think he just needed, a year in the system here with Scotty and whoever ends up being here next year. I would love to see him on the outside again next year. I mean, why do we want to have to replace everybody again? I don't get it. So if that's what you consider fireable, then the standard's too high for me in year one. That's it. If this was the conference championship game or something along those lines, I could totally get it. But for a kid to have a moment of frustration when if you'd have led the ball, he was going to be open or close to open. He'd had a chance at it. Instead, it's another underthrown ball, and he's consistently not getting the ball all year. So, I got this frustration in the moment. So if people want to come after me and say I'm soft for feeling that way, that's fine with me. That's fine with me. I'm just to the point to where all this judgment, all these people that just on their soapboxes with the judgment, man, is crazy to me. Like it's he without sin throw the first stone is so true sometimes. It really is. Is Scotty Fox the answer? Is the question I want to ask you guys next. We'll get to the recruits as well right after the break. This episode is going to be brought to you by our friends at Game Time, y'all. With Game Time, it's pretty simple. College football is back, and it's pretty much over now, but we still have more to go, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's nothing like it, right? But let's be real. Actually, getting tickets can feel a lot more like the battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping up at checkout. It's why I use Game Time. It is the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees at checkout. What you see, what you pay. I pulled up Game Time, and in just a couple taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite college football games for as low as $25. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase where the terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDON COLLEGE for $20 off today. And you too can swipe tab ticket, go download Game Time today, and answer the question of all questions. What time is it? It's game time. All right, guys, we're back here. Locked on West Virginia, segment 3. Talking a little Scotty Fox and the recruits. I'm going to start with the recruits. We'll get Scotty Fox last here. Just a couple comments on the recruits. I spoke with a couple while they were at the game. DeJohn Green said it was very pretty so far. A couple other guys are enjoying their time there as well. I think West Virginia, at the end of the day, here's how I feel about it. The game isn't going to help. Obviously, we know that. The attendance isn't going to help either. But I do think that, if the money is what really matters to people, then you should be okay. That's kind of where I'm at with it. So on the two you really want, like Amari, at least in my opinion anyways, Amari Latimer, the Wisconsin commit, who, if you haven't seen him yet, you got to see him. He was on campus, at least I'm pretty sure he was on campus, supposed to be on campus, as well as there was a Penn State commit, and his name is very French, Matthew Lama, or not, I don't know if it's French or not. Matthew Lama, maybe. I'm not exactly sure, but he's another guy that claims to be rated 4-star. Some say 3-star. Amari Latimer is 4 stars across the board, top 20 running back in the country. And if you check out his highlights, which are just flat out incredible, and I mean incredible, as you can see here, I'll show you 1 or 2 plays of him. This guy was on campus today, and I believe Rich Rod and company need to do whatever it takes to get him and keep him, because he's exactly what you need. He's the big one. If you can get him out of everybody that was on campus today, this is the one you keep. Out of all the running backs I've evaluated that West Virginia's been involved with, and around the country that I've evaluated this year, this has been my favorite one. Look at that flipper. Bam! Just absolutely destroying dudes. 5'11", 230 pounds, and he can run out. He can catch it. He can run it. He can literally do it all, and he runs 11 seconds in the 100-meter. So he's got it all at 5'11", 230 pounds. Power, speed, elusiveness as well. And then here you'll see him motion him out wide in the slot, and he'll run right by a linebacker for a mismatch and score. So he can do a little bit of everything. He was on campus today, y'all. He just decommitted from Wisconsin, or he's about to decommit from Wisconsin. I'm not sure which, but a big-time commit, or not commit, but recruit. And if West Virginia can hold on to him, I'll be happy. After today, I don't know. Like I said, hoping so. I mean, all those guys follow me on social media, so that's at least something, that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they follow the reporters wherever they go, but hopefully they stick around, the main ones that we need. Brian Dillard's on campus today as well, which is his agent reposted a video I did about him. He's a 4'3", 40 guy, really elusive. West Virginia's recruiting him at receiver. I just hope that this performance today and the negativity in the fan base doesn't hurt them wanting to come here. Ultimately, like I said, the money is the ultimate factor, right? That's just the truth of it all. So we'll see what happens, man. Yeah, we're going to call him the flipper. I like that. All right, Scotty Fox. I'm trying not to overreact in my emotions here, right? That's where I'm trying to be at here. Let me get one more drink. Sorry, my mouth's dry. It was a bad performance for him. I really wanted to see him come out and play well enough to just kind of keep himself in the conversation for next year. Rich Rod's one of those guys. He's an emotional person too. And I think he'll probably sit down and think this out. They're going to try to bring Scotty back, I would imagine. But I fully expect West Virginia to go out and get a really good player quarterback in the portal. I do. I don't have any inside knowledge for that. If I did, I would say I don't. So, I think West Virginia, if you're asking me anyways, I think they should go out and get the best quarterback they can find. That's just my opinion. Because Scotty hasn't shown us enough. Maybe he'll take another step in the offseason. With an offseason behind him, preparing as a starter, sure. He should have a leg up, right? Worst case scenario, you get him to stick around and he ends up as your second guy, right? And I think that would be a good position. I would feel really comfortable with him as your backup next year as well. One of the things that today that really bothered me about Scotty was his inability to get you short yardage. In Rich Rod's offense, short yardage from quarterback is kind of a big deal. You don't want him to always have to be able to do it, but when they need to do it, you need them to be able to. You need them to have the ass to be able to move the pile a little bit. Lee Hunter pulled Scotty down by his hand today. I saw it with my own eyes. Lee Hunter is a massive, strong human being. I'm not saying that. But Skylar Howard wouldn't have went down on that. Pat White wouldn't have went down on that. He'd have broke his hand off before he would have went down on that. And I just think Scotty needs, he's been thrown into this as a true freshman. I think he just needs to get his weight up, get some bulk to him like Garrett Green did that all season. It helped him a lot. He was able to run more. He didn't get injured as much, even though he still did, which he's nowhere near as small as Garrett was. But I think Scotty's got room for 20 pounds of nice heft and muscle on him, maybe a little more, but he's going to need it. And he's already not a burner anyway. So I think Scotty be fine with 20 or 30 pounds. But, for me on him, I'm going to pass and say, if you're giving me the field, if you're telling me that Rich Rod and company can go out with $1.5–2 million and go get pretty much any quarterback they want within reason. Now, they're not going to get the top of the top of the top. But, like, if you're telling me that Rich Rod can go get this obscure running quarterback from somewhere that a lot of people want, but it's like Trinidad Chambliss. Trinidad Chambliss is a perfect example of what I mean. He came from Ferris State. I was talking about him when he came out of Ferris State. As a matter of fact, I can show you messages from him and I on my phone, text messages, from before he even left Ferris State, talking about, hey, I would love to come to West Virginia. I've showed him before. He wanted to come to West Virginia. Now he's following probably Lane Kiffin to LSU. It's crazy how that works, but he was the perfect guy, in my opinion. It wouldn't have worked this year because of how bad the team was anyway. He made the right call going to Ole Miss. But Trinidad Chambliss is the perfect example of a guy that West Virginia could afford this coming year. Last year, he went to Ole Miss probably for $1 million or something. This year, West Virginia can get him. Last year, they couldn't. A guy like that, Trinidad Chambliss, an obscure Ferris State dual threat guy, had won a national championship there, had a winning pedigree, had all the physical tools you could see on tape. I mean, I talked about him at nauseum when he came out. That's the kind of player I think West Virginia should go after, an elite runner of the football first. You want a guy that can pass it, but you want a guy that can run it a little more, in my opinion, at least in this offense. It's at its most devastating when you have to choose between an elite running back like potentially Amari Latimer or an elite quarterback like potentially Trinidad Chambliss. That's what I want to see at West Virginia again, that option threat. I love passing teams, but we've seen that at West Virginia. We saw Dana Holgorsen do it with Will Greer. We saw him do it with Skylar Howard. We've seen it with Neil Brown and other quarterbacks at times. And then we saw a little bit of running with Garrett Green. And we all agreed at the time, we all felt most like West Virginia when we were running the ball. When Garrett Green took off up the sidelines versus North Carolina and pointed for the first down, we all replayed that all offseason, and it led us to the Penn State game until we were disappointed. That's what we want. At least I think. If I could put my fingers on the pulse of the fan base, that feeling that we got when he ran that play against North Carolina, 70 yards or 60 yards or what it was, and he was pointing for the first down, and you could just tell like he wanted to be here at West Virginia. He wanted to come back and do great things at West Virginia. That's what we need, in my opinion. It's been a rough season, so sometimes I question if we'll ever get back to the way it used to be again. I hope we do. West Virginia football is everything to us. It's everything to me. And I know it's everything to you guys too. If West Virginia football is everything to you, like the video, subscribe. I'll keep my job. Keep coming back. And let's talk about this all off season, right? We've got an off season to talk about it. I'm excited about it, the future of the team. I think we're going to have plenty of opportunities to add really good players. I think there is a lot to be excited about. I really do. So, but obviously it starts up front, and I want to see us go attack. Like if we don't do anything else, and I mean this, if we start the season next year and all we've done is went out and spent $5 million on the O-line and $5 million on the D-line, I'll be happy, because you can win with that. If you get an elite offensive line, no matter if you just set out, because if you've got the money to do it, if you just decide I'm going to have the most elite offensive line in the Big 12 next year, and I might have one of the most elite defensive lines in the Big 12 next year, and then you can go find your guys to fill in around that like you did this year. I think you can do this and win in the Big 12. I think you can. Those guys are going to be out there. Virginia just did it. We were trying to bring in Will Reed. You remember that when we were trying to bring in Will Reed? Hold on, let me make sure I'm getting the name right. So whenever we were trying to bring in Will Reed, Virginia was bringing in Monroe Mills. Remember him? The former All-American tackle at Louisville. And I was thinking, oh, wow, he's on the market late. We finally got a chance for a great O-lineman. We were trying to bring in Will Reed, who wasn't exactly proven. He didn't play any snaps at Georgia Tech this year, by the way. Monroe Mills goes to Virginia, and they're on the cusp of the playoffs. Virginia. You can do it at West Virginia, too, where they really care, where we really care, where we'll even die by this shit. We need to improve it all in 1 year. I just think we're almost up against it here, where if we wait another year, you're talking about next year is going to be 2026, right? Then you're talking about 2027, maybe 2028 before everything changes again. And then who knows? Like, I feel like you got to be in a good place. Your football program needs to be in a good place when the next big shift happens. And I don't know if we're going to be able to get there fast enough. I'm hoping we do. But if the SEC don't get its way this season here, which they're lobbying for it, that's for sure. They're lobbying for it. We'll see what happens, man. But overall, guys, tough loss today. Embarrassing loss. I'm sure Rich Rod and company are going to stew on it all off season. I'm frustrated by it as much as you all are. But leave me a comment down below and let me know how you feel about everything we talked about. Answer these questions for me down below. Once I hit end, leave a comment. Scotty Fox, the future. Cam Vaughn, where did you sit with that? Does he need kicked off the team, run out of town? Is that really that big of an offense to you? I'm curious. And where would you like to see us spend the money? Scotty Fox, is he the starting quarterback next year? Do you feel like he should be the starting quarterback next year? Cam Vaughn, and where should we spend the money first? Let me know down below. This John C. guy, man, I swear he comes in every single time and has no clue what he's talking about. Like, do research, bro. Like he said, West Virginia is the poorest school in the Big 12. That's not true. It's not even close to true. It's not even close to true. West Virginia is going to be top half of the Big 12 next year, if not a little better. We're going to have the cap, which is right around 22 million, I think. Right around 12 or 13 for football, plus another 10 or 11 for outside the cap, according to Rich Rod. If that happens, we'll be just fine. See you guys later. Thank Locked On West Virginia your first listen. Subscribe if you're new around here. And also check on Locked On Big 12 as well over there, like with Drake Toll. Does a great job, guys, as everybody does in the Locked On Network. We'll see you guys on the next one. Q Country Roads, guys. We'll see you on the next one.